Let's go for take number. I have no idea what take this is. But again, a very, very, very quick thank you to my sweet, sweet, sweet daughter-in-law, Lisa. I truly appreciate you. Alrighty. So, hello, my fellow hookers. My dear, dear hookers. I have had a morning. My goodness. So, but we are good to go. I got this. I've had to say no to my amazing daughter. I hate doing that, but that's okay because I really wanted to spend some time with you wonderful people. So today we are going to use up some of this amazing yarn. It is either Bernat Super Value or Red Heart Super Value, Super Saver, something like that. Again, I'm not sponsored, so I have no idea what this stuff is. I got it for a silly, silly, silly good deal. And now I would like to share it with you guys. So today in the spirit of recycling and getting into the recycling, sorry, my phone is coming down. Sorry, guys. There we go. That's better. Alrighty. So in the spirit of recycling and learning how to use our yarn to its most amazing capabilities, we are going to be making a market bag today. I call this a market bag because a lot of my, sorry about my nails, gardening and life has really taken its toll on them this week again, but that's okay because I'm going to be redoing them this afternoon or tomorrow or the next day or something. But before we get started, I want to see how many of you want to continue with the Granny Square series. I literally have at least 12 more Granny Squares that my mom used to do. Some are 3D, some are daisy squares. I've got an out of publication. I would share it with you, but I know you guys can't find it because the last time it was printed was, I think, back in 1930 something, 40 something. And I stole it from my mom's filing cabinet because I didn't like Granny Squares at the time, but I knew that they would come in handy. So I borrowed it permanently from my mother. She let me go in and do her stuff, take a look at her stuff. All right. So, oops, my phone is not behaving today. I'm not sure why. Anyway, here we go. So today's market bag is brought to us by Bernat or Red Heart something. Okay. I am working on maybe getting a sponsorship. We'll have to see how it works. But for right now, it is what it is. So here is leftover stuff. And so I was looking at, where did it go? There it is. Like I said, I have started this thing three times, my fellow hookers. And each time I keep hating it or getting started and finishing or whatever. Anyway, we are going to be making our market bag today. There are literally at least a half a dozen ways to make a market bag. I know that Mikey at the Crochet Crowd has a really, really cool one with the modern granny. But today I want to make a super, super, super quick, super easy, super everything one. So I'm going to be using this color, which is kind of a pinky mauve, I think, for lack of a better word. And then this color, because it goes with it so well, we're going to be using this one for the border and the handles. It just really looks nice together. I have done one other market bag that literally was gone in 5 minutes. So this one is not going to be super pretty. It's not going to be super cute. It is going to be what it is. So we're going to start it with half double crochets. And the reason we're going to start it with half doubles is because I want the bottom of it to be a little bit stronger than the sides. The rest of it is just to be made with double crochets and single crochets. But, excuse me, but for right now, let's get started. And while we get started, sorry, we've got so much pollen around here that I feel like I have to sneeze. So anyway, this is how we get started with everything because we all know, you all know, okay, slip stitch, hold, turn, use the X, go under the X, grab the bottom one and pull through. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. If you have any questions or concerns about how fast I'm going, let me know, number one. And number two, I have all of the tutorials on all of this stuff in my playlist. So I'm actually going to start organizing my playlists. So this one will be market bags. I've got at least 3 other older patterns, but this one is my own design. So I don't even have to tell anybody, oops, I don't have to tell anybody or give anybody any credit. So this one, we're just going to design as we go along. So I'm going to wrap my yarn so I can control it. And for the lovely lady, oh my goodness, thank you so much for the comment, who said that she would never ever encourage anybody to use a yarn ring to control the tension when they first get started. I recognize that there are a lot of people out there that have mobility issues with their hands, and perhaps this way isn't the easiest for them. Again, there's so many ways to control your tension. This is just the one, again, that I've used. Same with the slip knot beginning. I've seen my mom use these techniques, same with the hook holding here, for over 50 years. Not that I want to date myself, but for over 50 years. So, and we all know that I don't like starting a magic ring on a lot of things. Yes, it's convenient. Yes, it's super easy. But on something that's going to be used as much as a market bag, I recognize that we don't want to use a magic ring because it can come out. We don't want that. So we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Chain 5. And that very first one, just going to grab a loop, pull through and pull through. So that is a slip stitch. Again, please, if I'm going too fast for anybody, let me know. I will slow down and always go back and double check my tutorials on how to get started. Okay? So again, we all know that Sherry doesn't like chaining to start, but because we're doing the half double crochets on the bottom, I'm going to cheat. We're going to do one single chain. That's it. It's not going to count as anything. And then we're going to yarn over. We're going to put through that circle, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. There is our first half double created. And again, if I've gone too fast, I'm not going to leave you abandon you yet, but if I've gone too fast, let me know and I will slow down or check out my tutorials. So yarn over again, slip through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. And these ones you can make as tight or as loose as you want. Tighter is better because again, we want, I should show you the hook size. I apologize. So we're using my handy dandy 5mm. I would have brought down my wooden one, but I forgot. It's just so pretty and I love using it. But you know what? I started on kind of a hard plasticky one. This is the kind I started on way back when. And I do like my metal ones, but I do prefer my pretty wooden ones. So metal it is. Again, this set that I have here, if for any of you who haven't seen it yet, this whole set, minus the pen, this whole set, minus that one too, came with scissors, it came with darning needles, it came with all of the hook sizes from 2 to, I believe, an 8. Yes, 2 all the way up to a size 8. And this was on Amazon, I think it was, for like, I don't even think it was $15. And it comes with scissors and measuring tape, the whole works. Everything you need to get started, you can get started, except for yarn, of course. You can get started for literally less than $20. Hooking, oh dear, this is going to sound terrible. Hooking is it's a cheap way to get going and get your hands busy. Okay, so that's 2 of the half doubles. There's 3. Pull through and pull through all 3. Yarn over, push through, pull through. That's 4 now. There's 5. And, oops, let's hide that tail. 6, 7. Oh, goodness. Come on. should have just used my yarn bowl. 8, 9, and 10. There we go. There is our base done. Now you can use any, if you want to use make a smaller market bag, or you want to make just a bag that you can carry stuff with, or what have you, it doesn't matter. You can start with 8. You can go all the way up to 12. Just remember to adjust, and we'll see how this works, to adjust the amount of stitches in between when you get there. Okay, so I just want to make sure I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there's my first one, 10. So I'm going to put my hook through both of the V's. Maybe I made that too tight. There we go. Both of the V's. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull through, and I'm going to pull through. Slip stitch created. Now I can tighten that nice and tight. The more stitches you put in here, the tighter that is going to be. So you might have to adjust. Oh, goodness. One moment. Technical difficulties. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I need to get a better tripod. For right now, though, the one that my daughter gave me is absolutely fantastic. Because it has this wonderful light that's attached to the tripod. I think they're called a ring light. I'm still learning all the terms, but that's okay. So now we're going to start our second round on our little thing. So I'm going to chain 1. Again, I normally don't do that, but for this one, it's okay. I'm going to go into that same stitch, and I'm going to do 2 half doubles. 1. It's a little bit fiddly. It's okay. And 2. Yoink. Done. So there's my 2 half doubles. And in every stitch around, you're going to do 2 half doubles. Okay? So you'll end up with 20. So there's 3 and 4. Hang on. Oops. There we go. There we go. Now we can see. That was 4. And 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, 15, and 16. Oh, come on, there we go. 17, and 18, 19, oops, and 20. Now it looks to me like I've missed a stitch. I have not. When I slip stitch to here, that will close that gap, because you got to remember there's always going to be that fiddly bit. That's fine. As long as you've got 20 stitches, you're doing well. Okay? So I'm going to find that very, very, very first stitch. I'm going to catch both arms of the V. I'm going to pull it through. My goodness, that's fiddly. There we go. And, oh, no, don't do a single crochet. Let's try that again. So I've got through both arms of the V, pull through and pull through. There we go. Okay, and I can keep pulling that until I get this completely locked in and do my ends. This is going to keep opening. It's fine. It's totally fine. Okay. So there we are. We have 20 stitches, 10 in the first one, 20 in the second one. But now we want to keep adding until we get the base that we want. So now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to put 1 half double in the first stitch and 2 half doubles in the second. So what you're going to be doing is whatever multiple you started with, 8, 10 or 12, or whatever size you started with, it's fine. Okay. You're going to multiply that by each number of rows you've got. So for example, this one I started with 10, now 20. Now I'm going to have 30 in this one. Okay. So the next round will be 40, and you can see the pattern now, right? Because you're adding an extra stitch. You're adding that extra number so that you've got a nice flat base to start. All right, so do one half double, and then 2 half doubles. There we go. And 2 half doubles. And then 1 half double. And you can see that's going to be our pattern all the way around here. Okay, and you're good to go, and you can now see that this is going to grow with each round that we increase our stitch. Yes, I did that right. That we increase our stitch number with each round, that it's going to lay flat. For the most part, it'll lay flat, and we'll have a nice, strong, sturdy base to our market bag. And you can use this bag for almost anything. Just remember that it's not going to be a good purse bag or purse pattern because we're not going to line it. We are going to leave it as is. So now I've got to do 2 and 2. But for literally everything else, you can use this. Back in the day, Mom used this pattern, although she did the bottom just a little bit differently. She used this as her pattern for, excuse me, as a bag holder, one of the plastic bag holders. And instead of having this little itty bitty hole, she actually made that hole a lot bigger. And then she would stuff the bags in from the top so that she could pull the bags out one at a time. And bless my mother, she's so organized. I am so not organized. If it wasn't for the lovely lady or the gentleman, I guess, that I got these from, I would be in a terrible mess. But thanks to him, I actually have loads and loads and loads of totes, and I can keep all of my little bits and bobs well organized, and we're good to go. So here we go. Now we should be able to end and have 30 stitches. And because we started on a single, the single half double, we have to end on the 2 half doubles. All right, so that should be it. I should be at my end. Okay, there we go. All right, now let's just double check that, shall we? We count our edges. There we go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and our beginning one of 30. And again, our single chain at the very beginning does not count as a stitch. You can just ignore that. Okay, so now I'm going to do a quick slip stitch into, there we go, come on, into there, baloop and baloop. There we go. So here we are. We've got a nice circle happening. And as you can see, it lays nice and flat. Like I don't have to do anything to make this nice and flat. It just lays nice and flat. It's supposed to do that because you want a nice, solid, not too super stretchy, which is why I used my 5 rather than a 5.5 or a 6. But if you want a super stretchy one, you can use a 5.5 or a 6. Or if you're using a thicker yarn, okay? I would go about a half size smaller than the yarn requests or the yarn requires. So if this, I'm pretty sure this actually says you can use a 5.5. That's why I'm using my 5 rather than the 5.5. Excuse me, I have to, no, it's gone. Silly sneezes, they just won't come. All right, so now we're on our 4th row. So we're going to yarn over and do 1 single half double, 2 single half doubles, and then we're going to do 2 half doubles in the next stitch. And what that's going to do is that's going to increase our count by 10 again this round. So we are going to have 40 double crochets in this round. And you're going to notice that everywhere you have the 2 double crochets, or the 2, two half double crochets, you've got a little bit bigger of a hole there. That's fine. It is what it is. When you're putting multiple, excuse me, when you're putting multiple stitches into a stitch from the round before, you're going to have a little bit bigger hole. But again, it's going to hold together fairly nicely. Like, I'm giving this a pretty good tug, and other than the fact that my end keeps wanting to come through, it's holding together pretty well. You see? So, okay, so let's do that again. So we've got one single half double, two single half doubles, and now two half doubles in the same stitch. Okay? Now keep doing that around. And while I'm doing that, and again, this is another one of those ones where if you need some busy work, because life is sometimes nicer with a bit of hooking in it, in my humble opinion. So even if I'm at a family gathering, watching TV with my husband, visiting even with friends, like I don't know how many friends I've had come over, and I just can't sit still. I find myself, doing something. I got to do something with my hands. And so all of my friends who come for coffee or who come for a visit, they know they're either going to get baking or they're going to get stitching. And they're fine with that. Anybody who knows me well enough knows that I just cannot sit. I take my stitching everywhere. Yes, even the beach. I take it outside with my puppers. I take it outside with sometimes not my grandchildren, because we've got littles. So quite often the grandchildren, I'm literally running after them. So it's not really conducive to good hooking, but that's okay. That's okay, because I love my grandchildren very, very, very much. And so again, I've got one half double, two half doubles, and two half doubles in the same stitch. Oh, my goodness, there we go. And I have absolutely no idea how old this yarn is, because the lady who had it before me was quite elderly. Okay, so I don't know if you can even get these colors anymore. I just know that this, out of all of the colors that I got, this is probably my favorite combination. And, oh, did I do that wrong? No, I did it right. Okay, so now let's take a look, because like I said, I was talking and I wasn't paying attention. So I can see that in this right here, I've got two half doubles in the same stitch. And then I can go 1, 2. Oh, yeah, I've got to have two half doubles there. And that's even, especially when you're on the rounds, like say we wanted to make this into a tablecloth, because you can, why not? Even if I wanted to make this into a tablecloth and I wanted to use this very same pattern because I have a table that is an antique or whatever, and I don't want people spilling on it, I would do something like this in cotton to catch and then absorb everything that was spilled. And with a nice color, this would actually look really good. I would probably get bored to tears if I had to do one that big, but again, that's because I need variety. But, sorry. But say I'd lost count and I knew I was on row 25. So that means I have to have 25 in a group. So I've got 23 singles and 2 with 2 in it, or then 2 and 1. So I can catch where I'm at on it. And that way I don't have to count each and every time. I know what row I'm on, what round I'm on. Therefore, I must have a total of that many stitches. There we go. I'm on round 4. In my pattern repeat, I have to have 4 stitches. And that's literally all you have to do. When you're making these, whether it's a toque, whether it's something that you want to lie flat like a doily or a table cover or a market bag like this, when you're increasing by whatever. So if this was an 8 or a 12 instead of a 10, I would still have the same thing. I would still have on my 4th round a 4-stitch repeat. And that is what is absolutely glorious about doing these easy rounds like this. And again, I use the half double because I want something that's fairly firm without going into a single crochet, because single crocheting takes forever. Now I should have 3 stitches left. 1, 2, 3. And then my starting stitch. Perfect. So I need a single and a single, and then 2 half doubles. 1 and 2. Okay, so now I know that since I started with 2 in the single half doubles, I have to end with a stitch that has 2 half doubles in it. And then, now again, if you want to count, you're more than welcome to. Because I know that my stitch count is correct, because, I ended with the right perfect stitches, I don't have to count this. But if you are just starting up, please, 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 please feel free to count. There are some things that I am absolutely adamant about counting. And that is something else actually that I wanted to talk to you all about while we're doing our 5th round. So again, and you can see here, there is my startup, but it's pretty minimal, okay? You want something that's not going to be super obvious. Now, it is there, but it's not in your face there. Okay, if you were using a variegated, yeah, it's going to be in your face, and that's fine. That is totally fine. So again, to start, we chain 1. And if I didn't chain 1 and use the standing half double that we've learned, okay, that would be less and less and less obvious. But because this is something that I don't really care about. So it's all good. So now we're going to need groups of 5 in this one because we're on the 5th round. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're on our 5th round now. So I need 1 half double, another half double, another half double, and now I need 2 half doubles in that same stitch. And again, what round are we on? We're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. We're on round 5, and I've got my repeat. Okay, so let's keep going. So I tried to go through this several times. Like I said, this is take number, I have no idea. Because, life happens, right? And so I want to know where you all are thinking oops, don't put that there. There we go. What are you guys thinking on what you'd like to see, whether you'd like to see more granny squares? Like I said, I have so many granny square patterns, it's not even funny. Excuse me. Like I said, I stole, borrowed permanently, a book from my mom. Again, with her permission. She knew that I was in her drawers, and she knew that I was going through her cabinet there that she's got all of her patterns in. And she was happy about it because she's getting to the point now in her life where her arthritis is awfully bad. And she is not able to do a lot of this stitching anymore. And that makes me sad because my mom truly is an amazing hooker. Sorry about that. I had to wet my whistle a little bit. There we go. But my mom was truly an amazing hooker. She could knit, she could crochet. She did plastic canvas for a while there. She was just an amazing crafter, all-around crafter. Not only that, but she's a farmer's wife. So she gardened, she canned, she could cook like nobody's business. My mom can make a turkey even today, although she does need help getting things in and out of the oven. At 80 years old, my mom can make a turkey that would rival the best restaurants in the world. She's got flavor. It's so tender and so juicy, and she just cooks. There are certain things Mom and I differ on how we do things, but turkeys, tried and true. I have kind of done a few dipsy doodles on my own to change her recipe slightly, but the way she does it, nope, I'll never change that. I've never had a tough turkey. I've never had, well, I have by mistake had a bit of a raw turkey when I forgot to turn on the oven, and dinner was a little late because, it is what it is. But My mom was the most amazing crafter. So if I can continue with um, that tradition and teach you all the wonders of, again, we got a nice flat circle. It looks, depending on your tension, it may go up or down. It's fine, okay? But if I can continue giving another generation, or even people of my generation who've never done this before, or somebody who used to do it and then forgot how to do it, like I kind of did for years there, just something to do with your hands. My mother used to, oh, not my mother, sorry, my grandmother used to say, idle hands are Satan's playground. And I never agreed with that. I didn't like that phrase, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm fine with that. I just don't like having idle hands, because then my hands just do things on their own. And then it's just weird and people look at me funny. Okay, where are we here? There. Oh, wait, hang on. Yep, we're good. We're coming to the end of this round. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to get started on the 6th round, and then I'll give you a break from my talking, because I know that you guys don't want to watch a 3-hour video. So I will get you started on the 6th round, and then the 7th, and then the 8th. And what we're going to do is, I think to make a nice big one, we're going to probably do at least 10 rounds. Now, again, make it bigger, make it smaller, whatever makes you happy. There used to be, and I need to find some really pretty yarn for one of these, because I want to make one so badly. Back in the probably like late 1800s, early 1900s, ladies would have just literally a bag, a cinched bag. The ladies that couldn't afford or weren't town ladies, and they would have this cinched bag, and it's so easy to make. And I've made a few of them, and they just turn out so well, and I love them to bits. But I want to have some nice yarn to make them with, because, I can. But let's continue. Okay, so our round is done. So again, we're on our 5th round. We should have 50. So if you want to count, please feel free. But I know it worked out, so I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to find my very first one. I'm going to tuck a slip stitch to join and chain 1. And again, you'll notice that I'm actually not turning this, because this is going to be our inside. This is going to be our outside. And I really don't care. I know that on my granny squares, I always say, turn each round. There are some things that I won't turn each round on. And this is one of them, because I don't care. This is one that's super easy. And so again, we're on the 6th round. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to do 2. And that gives us our, I know it's technically only 5, but it's actually a 6 stitch repeat. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. Okay. So again, you're going to have 6, I'm sorry. Let's try that one more time. You're going to have 6 stitches in your repeat. Technically, it's only going to cover 5 from the round before, but it is going to be 6 stitches because of the 2 and 1. And that's how I keep track, because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6. All right, so finish this round. We'll come back for a quick look at 7, and then we'll continue all the way up to round 10, I think, will be the best. So I will pause this. Do your 4 plus 2. Okay, so again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 in the same one. Okay, 1 and 2. So 4, 1, 2, 3. Oh, goodness gracious. See, I should just quit while I was ahead, right? So that was 2, 3, 4, and 2. 1 and 2. And if I remember to do this, what I will do when I get to round 7, because that's where I shall leave you until you want it to be big enough. I'm going to put instructions on right about here. Okay. And I will put instructions on the screen so that you can go all the way up to, say, round 15. Okay. And that way you've got the stitch counts for each of the stitches. I'm hoping I can remember to do that because I'm trying. And thank you again for all of your patience, everybody. So I will see you back at the end of this round. Okay. So I am, I'm done round 6. All I got to do is slip stitch to close. And again, I have 60 stitches all together. And now I'm going to slip, oops, sorry, too close. There we go. Slip stitch, too close. There we go. All right. And again, this is becoming more and more and more pronounced. There are little tricks. If you're doing amigurumi, there are ways to avoid this look. One of them is to not do that chain stitch and just do your standing half double. So now for round 7, you're going to do 5 half doubles and then 2 half doubles in the same stitch. For round 8, you're going to do 6 and then 2. Round 9, 7 and 2. So you can see where this is going. Now, just do not make this too large, because the larger your bag is, the more you're going to want to stuff into it. The more you're going to want to stuff into it, the more it's going to stretch. The more it's going to stretch, the more chance there is that something small is going to fall out of it. So keep your bag at a half decent level. Think of it like your grocery bag and how big grocery bags are from the grocery store. Okay. So, you could have your bottom again. So this is 6. So let's measure that so we can kind of take a peek. Already you're at 5 1/4 inches. So you could realistically take that, bloop, there we go, to 10.5 and still have a really, really good size bag. So you could probably do 12 rounds. I think I would probably keep it to 10 or 11 because it's going to be in that kind of range. I guess we could do it this way and make it kind of easier to tell. That kind of range. There we go. We'll just do to 10. And that's a nice size bag. Again, because this is going to be round. It's not going to be flat. It's going to be round. Okay. So we're not talking about something that it doesn't have a gusset or whatever, but that's lovely. But again, you're going to have a round bag, and you could make this square, oval, what have you. We will work on each and every one of those, I promise. But for right now, this one is super, super, super easy. So I will try that again. I will try to remember to put the instructions. Sorry, that's one of the little things I always do is I always say instructions. I will try to remember to put the little instructions right here in the corner so that you can go all the way up to, say, round 12. I think I will probably stop mine at round 10, 10-ish. Yeah, I think that's going to be good enough. And then we will come up. Now to come up, so easy. But we're going to do a little trick on ours so that we can come up and make it look like it can stand on its own, because that's what it's going to be able to do. All right. So I shall see you back after my 10th round. Okay. Because I think that's going to be the best for me, I think. We shall see. I will come back to you after my 10th round, and then we can gauge it from there. All right. See you soon. Well, welcome back, my sweet dear hookers. As you can see, I've only done 6 rounds here, and it looks like I've actually taken some out. I haven't. I actually had to remake it because the video that I shot, this has been a journey. The video that I shot for the sides disappeared. I have the end of it. I have the very end of it, but this part is gone. So we're going to try again and make sure I don't delete it this time. So welcome back. Well, we're going to pretend that I have 11 rounds because I did in my original bag, I did 11 rounds. So we're going to pretend. We're just going to pretend. And so now we're going to come up the sides. So we've got our bottom, and I'm going to actually finish this one and make one of those little itty bitty little satchel bags that I was telling you about, because I know that some little girl is going to see this and go, "Oh, Mama, please." And I can keep it a half decent price for her, or a little boy, doesn't matter. And they're going to love it. And I'm going to go, "Okay, here you go." So having said that, we're going to pretend that this is 11 rounds. It's not, I know, I'm sorry. But I got very frustrated. So what we're going to do is, at this point, how many of our rounds you've got is how many stitches you're going to have. So if you've got 11 rounds, you've got 110 stitches. If you've got 12, it's 120. And again, that's based it on what you did in the center here, right? So if you did 11 rounds is going to be 88 stitches, and then so on and so forth, right? So this one, I only have 60 stitches because I started again with my 10 and then I just went out from there. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start the sides. We're going to stop making it flat. Now, as you can see, it's because I was stitching angrily, my my tension is a bit off, so it's not quite as flat as it could be, but it's fine. Shh. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're going to stop adding stitches, and we're just going to make it flat now. So what's going to happen, or not flat, sorry, we're going to make it come up like a cup. And you'll see in the next portion of the video that it actually works out really well. So what we're going to do, I've already slip stitched to join. So I'm going to chain one, and I'm going to do one single crochet in each and every stitch that I've got. So again, in my original bag, it would be 110 because I did 11 rounds, but for this one, it's only going to be 60. So again, in each and every stitch, you're going to do a single crochet. That's it. That's all. Super easy, right? But what's going to happen is you're going to start noticing my sides are going to start coming up. Now, you won't necessarily notice it this first round, but you will notice it as we go along. So this video is already hugely long, so I will actually let you continue on your merry way and finish however many stitches you've got. Shh. Good girl, Penny. Sorry, we've just been outside, so she wants to go back outside and play some more, and I wanted to get this video done and posted today. But my goodness, I've had a time of this video, and I don't know why it's been so difficult. But that's okay. I got this, right? So here we go. I'm halfway done, and I will meet you around. I will leave a couple of stitches to finish, and then we will slip stitch to join. So I'm going to pause you, finish up your round, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I am back. Now I can see that I still have, and I did count to double check. I have 2 stitches. There we go. And now I'm just going to slip stitch to join. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to turn. I'm not going to anything. I'm now going to start my repeat rounds. However, we all know, I stress this enough, I never, ever, ever do chains to start. And this is the one time that I will break my own rules. So I'm going to chain 2. And what this is going to do, you can see how nice and tight this join is. Okay, the chaining 2 avoids that huge gap when you're joining in something like this. So now I'm going to ignore these. These count for nothing other than space fillers. Okay, so in the same stitch, once again, the same stitch that I slip stitched into, I'm going to do a double crochet. Now, all the way around, all I'm going to do is double crochets. And again, if you need help with those, if you need help with double crochets, go and check my tutorials out. Actually, you know what? I'm actually going to do this properly. Here we go. Try this again. I'll probably end up cutting that part out, but just in case, I'm back. So again, we're going to start double crocheting. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to stick my hook right through that same stitch as my slip stitch, and I'm going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Okay, so yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that, again, it's a very, very quick little reminder on how to do a double crochet. So super easy, super quick. And in each and every stitch, you're going to do 1 double crochet, and that is it. So again, for every stitch you've got around, so in my original one, it was 110 stitches. In this one, obviously, it's only going to be 60 because, you know, oi, what a day, what a day, what a day. So, and now to add to the fun, my daughter and I have locked ourselves, into a community garage sale, yard sale, whatever. It's a great way to get rid of stuff that I don't need, I won't need, what have you. But now I've got to prepare for it. So tomorrow definitely is not going to be a stitching day. It's going to be a going through everything and pricing everything and making sure I think that somebody will actually want this, and instead of just throwing it away kind of day. So having said that, I will let you finish this round. Okay, so we're going to come right back, and I will come back when I have got just a couple stitches left. See you soon. Okay, I am back. So here we are. I've got one stitch left right there that I'm going to double crochet in. And then I'm going to remember, forget this. These two chains don't exist. And we're going to slip stitch into the first actual double crochet. And again, what that's going to do, if I didn't have that there, there'd be a rather large sizable gap there, and I don't want that. So what I do with the chain 2 is I just completely ignore it as a stitch, come over to the actual stitch, and basically all it is a gap filler. And you can already see this is coming up. Now on the bigger pieces, obviously it's not going to be quite this noticeable yet, but you can see this is already becoming a cup. All right. On the bigger ones, it'll be a little bit more like this. But like I said, this video has just taken too long. So now for our next round, chain 1. And what we're going to do again in that very, very, very same stitch that we just slip stitched into, we're going to do a single crochet. And we're going to single crochet all the way around. Now, originally, I was just going to make this a double crochet, but I decided to do it double and single because I wanted, rather than having this look all the way up, I'm not 100% sure I like that, but I do like this look. Okay, so all we're going to do is for the next however many rounds you want to make this. And when you come back, you'll actually see me back to the original one. Or when I come back, we'll get back to the original bag that I was making. But for right now, this is going to just be a little itty bitty bag. I may show it to you down the road. I don't know. We'll see. But for right now, oh, goodness. There we go. For right now, we are going to just do single crochets all the way around. So, and then we're going to repeat that row after row after row. We're going to have doubles and singles. We're going to keep going the same direction. We're not going to change direction or anything like that. And then eventually, oh, I had it right the first way. No, I didn't. There we go. Eventually, this is going to be the inside of our bag. See, there's my beginning. And this is going to be the inside of the bag. So each time around on row number 1 is going to be a double crochet. Row number 2 is going to be the single crochet. And you're going to do that all the way up for as long as you want it, or as tall as you want it. If you want it to be, I think, a total length of one of these bags, because they do actually hold quite a bit. I've taken some pictures of the first one. I can say that now because I thought my video was done, but apparently it's not. But I've taken some pictures of one has 9 balls of yarn plus the project that I'm working on. And those of you who are doing the granny square with me or the modern granny with me will recognize that project. All of the balls of yarn, including the purple and the green, all fit in there. And I've even tucked in my hook so you can see how the hook tucks nicely into the double crochets. And if you, and I was going to actually mention this before, but I didn't, so I apologize. So I'll mention it now. If you want to make one row of trebles towards the end so that your larger hooks fit in there better, you can do that. And now that I'm thinking about it, I should have done that if this is going to be a project bag. But I don't know if it's going to be a project bag, so I'm just going to leave it as is for now. And then I also did one with some groceries. I put a can of coffee in there, It's one of the bigger ones, so I have no idea. I could probably go look, but I'm not going to just offhand. I also put a full big box of baking soda in there. Oh, I am to the end. So now I'm going to slip stitch. See, I've finished my last stitch. There's my first one. I'm going to slip stitch into that really super tight stitch. There we go. So now I'm going to chain 2 and I'm going to double crochet right into that very first stitch that I slip stitched into. And now I'm going to double crochet all the way around. So back to what was in those bags. So there was a can of one of the large cans of coffee, which is probably it's actually bigger around than this is. So it's one of the big cans. There's a great big huge box of baking soda in there, and so that was quite dense and quite heavy. There is a box of half-empty dryer sheets, tried to hide the half-emptiness of it, and a box of tissues, brand new box of tissues in there. So it actually holds quite a bit, surprisingly enough. And then when I lifted it, it didn't really stretch a whole lot. Yes, if I was carrying it great lengths or great distances, yes, it definitely would. It definitely would stretch, but it's not going to stretch a lot. So I thought I would test it to see, because this again is a new pattern. As you saw in the notes on the first one, the first portion of the video. This is one that I actually designed as we went along, because I kind of like the stitches that we're using. I kind of liked the idea of having round bags that, you know, a lot of stuff fits in round. When you've got corners to deal with, some of that bag space actually gets wasted. So yes, if you want to make square ones, absolutely do. Absolutely do. But I wanted round ones. I can probably make some square ones for cereals and pasta boxes and stuff like that. But I do like the round ones. I find that there's less wasted space. I find that there's less, I can fit stuff in there easier. And so that's why I decided on the round. Again, if you do decide you want to do squares or ovals, or you tell me, again, down in the comments below, tell me what you would like to see in the future. I know that I'm going to be mentioning down the road some really pretty ideas. You let me know what you want, and that is what we shall do. But for right now, we're just about done. We'll get the next round started, and then I shall leave you. But for right now, I don't think I've got much else to say, just because I've been down here, literally, it feels like all day long. I did get some outside time between rain showers, but it's cloudy again. Had to go and feed and water my chickies. And yes, we have chickens. We have 10 chickens, just enough for us to have eggs, and my daughter and her family to have eggs, and then maybe a few to sell on the side, but that's about it. All right, so again, I'm almost finished this. This is really coming together so quickly. Almost finished this. I'm just going to do my last stitch. There it is right there. Not this one here. Okay. And I'm going to slip stitch, not in the chain, but in the actual first double crochet. Okay. And now I'm going to switch over, and I'm actually, because I find myself doing this anyway, even in the bigger ones. There we go. We can see that this is really coming together nicely. And because I've done it so small, it's going to really hold its shape. You'll see in the rest of the video that the larger one doesn't hold its shape as well. Again, because the sides are a little floppier, and totally fine. But because this one is quite small, I'm going to make it into one of those cinch satchels that you used to see. For any of you, I don't know if you have or not, but for any of you who liked Little House on the Prairie, Mrs. Ingalls always had her little satchel purse, her satchel bag, and she carried it whenever she went to town into Walnut Grove. So I shall leave you here. Again, I've just done my double crochet row. Now I'm going to do a single crochet row. Yoink, and single crochet. And now I'm going to single crochet all the way around. So the body of this, I believe I made the body about 10 inches before I started the other color. Okay, so I will leave you for now. get your body up about 10 inch, however long you think you want to make it. I think that in the size that I made it, I did it 11 rounds on the bottom, 10 to the top. I'm pretty sure that that can hold, depending on how heavy everything is, that holds almost double what a regular grocery bag would hold, the old plastic ones. So I will leave you there, and I will catch up with you in just a few minutes with the rest of the video that I took. Thank you for being so patient with this newbie on this. I may be good at being, I'm a pretty good hooker, but I'll tell you, this YouTube stuff sometimes gets me. Anyway, I shall see you momentarily on the next part of the video. Good morning, my dear hookers. This is still part of my tutorial on, on market bags. But for me, it is another day. And as you can see, I got my nails done today. Yeah, well, yesterday, but I finally managed to get them done. And I went for sparkles this time because you know me, I love sparkles. All right, so when I last left you, we had just finished the bottom and we had done about 2 or 3 rows at the top. So I thought maybe, let's just see what we can do here. There we go. I thought maybe we could, and I got to really stop doing that. I thought maybe we could work on and how it looks and all of that. We could work on the top and what I have thought about doing for the top. So before we get there, I thought maybe I had better show you where I am at. There we are. I made this so far to be 9 and just a tiny bit more than 9, but 9¼ inches. Because I figured I don't want this too large, because I don't want it to get too heavy for people, because there is always that possibility that you know, it could get too heavy and it could actually do damage to the fiber. We don't want that. Oh, that's very hot. That's very hot. That's very hot. So, I thought maybe we would leave it at 9 and a bit inches, and then we would do maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches of the contrasting color. Whoopsie. My heater just got stuck. There we go. Yes, I do have my heater on today. It is quite warm or quite chilly out this morning. We've had rain and I think it's, I don't know, it's like 7 degrees this morning. So yeah, it's definitely not a pleasant morning. And for all of you in the United States, I think 7 degrees works out to about 45 or 50 maybe. Not 100% sure. So it's a bit chilly out there. Even my little baby chickies are not happy with me. I opened them up this morning to feed and water them, and they were just like, "Oh, Burr, Mom, close the door, please." I thought about putting my heater out there because it is an outdoor heater as well, but I think they're quite warm, so they're fine. They're mostly feathered now. So I'm switching over to, there we go. There we go. I'm switching over to this color because I do really like this color combination. As you can see, some of the color actually does run very, very close to the color that I've made the main body. So I really, really do like it. So what I'm going to do is we'll just switch this round so that you can actually see. Come on, there we go. You can actually see where the join is. And as I suggested with the bottom, okay, there is a way of making this straight. I do like this nice clean look that we've got going here, which is why I've left it as is. It does have a tendency to kind of swirl on you, and that's fine. If I was making an amigurumi or I was making a hat, I would make this a little less visible. But let's be honest, it's just a market bag. So I am fine with the way it looks right now. There are many ways to make this a much straighter, so it actually comes up. And I can show that to you as well in a future project. But I've been asked for market reasons to make lots of market bags. And this is probably one of the simplest ones that I've ever made. Like I said, there are so many patterns out there, but I really like how this one looks. And as you can see here, Hang on, let me just move this up a bit so we can actually see what this looks like. It actually almost, now with the way I've got it folded, it actually looks like it's almost straight, and it is straight. Like I've not added any extra stitches or taken any stitches out, but because of the way it grows, it does have a tendency to look like it's bigger here than here at the bottom. Okay, it is not, I promise you. Let me see if I can get this back the way I had it so that it doesn't fall over on me. And there we go, done. I really need to get a better setup for this. I'll figure it out someday. But for right now, this will do nicely. So anyway, so we're going to get started on this second half of this video. And as you can see, I have actually done my last round of single crochets. But because I want to now switch colors, I want this nice and tight. So I am going to do that chain stitch. I am going to find my scissors. Scissors are somewhere. Ah, there they are. And I'm going to snip that. Normally, if I was making something that was not quite as utilitarian as this is, I would probably make it a nicer edge to it, like a nicer stop here. But sadly, I don't really care because it's a market bag. It's not like it's a cashmere sweater or something like that. There we go. So for right now, that's how I finished that off. Now to get the next one started, I will do the knot. Now, in order to keep going with this look so that I don't all of a sudden start a new seam somewhere else, I'm just going to go over one, okay? And all I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just bring that through, and so that again, it's not like it's something wearable. So I am going to tie that to make sure it's going to stay firm. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is, there is my loop. All right, so to do that again, all I did was I just moved over one so that I'm still in line pretty much with what I had going here. I pulled my yarn through and I just did a half knot. Okay, what that's going to do, it's going to secure it. It doesn't matter what somebody's going to be doing with this, and we are going to be pulling in our ends so that they look nice and tidy. Okay, and then I just pulled up a loop. That's all I did. So I'm going to chain one just so that I can see easily where, oops, get out of there, I'll do you later, where my beginning of my thing is, my stitching is, and then I'm just going to chain a single crochet, and I'm going to single crochet all the way around. I haven't turned this work. All I'm going to do is, for me, it's 110 stitches because I started with 10, and I did 11 to recap. I did 11 rounds for my center and then brought it up. So again, if you started with 8 or if you started with 12, adjust this accordingly. Or if you did more because you wanted a bigger one, adjust your stitch total accordingly. Mine is 110. Excuse me. And that's the way it started out, and that's the way it's going to be. And I know that this is now nice and secure. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat so I don't have to work in so many ends. And I am just going to single crochet all the way around. Now, I know that a little while ago in the video, but for me, it's a couple of days ago, I didn't like how my blanket turned out. So, oh, and I forgot to bring it in. Oh my goodness. And it's so wet and cold out there. I don't want to go back out. Don't make me go back out, please. Let me just pull this up a bit. There we go. And don't make me go back out just yet. I've been out for quite a bit. Hubby is getting water today. Yes, we have to haul in our water. Yes, we do live in a very, very rural area. We have to haul our water in. We don't have to haul our septic out, thank goodness, because we have, the whole septic situation going on there. But as you can see, this actually really does lend itself quite nicely. You can see here, it's got that same, it might be a shade or two different, but it's got that same tone to it. And so I kind of really like the way this looks together. And I had done a couple of granny squares with this stuff before I realized I don't like it for blankets. Ugh. And that's something else that we can also do if you're interested. Although I have had, thank you so much to one of my subscribers, she has asked me to do one of my headbands. And so that is what I'm going to do. At the end of this video, I will, and also in the comment, or not in the comment, but in the description below, I will give all of the information you need to make a headband so that you can be prepared for that. The nice thing about the headbands that I make, you can use pretty much any kind of yarn. Now, getting back to this. So, right now, like I said, it's a little bit chilly. But it's not horrible. At least it's not in the minuses at night anymore. That's just been a fairly recent thing. It's been a very, very wet and rainy spring, and I'm so grateful for it. Last year we had fire surrounding us. At one point we were actually a little bit nervous that we were going to have to be evacuated because there was fire very, very close to us and it was burning out of control for so long. But this year is a very, very wet year. I'm so grateful to Mother Nature for that. Thank you. But here we go. So yeah, all I'm going to do all the way around here. So again, this doesn't get too long of a video. I think we're already probably at a good 45 minutes here. So all I'm doing is single crochet. So I will actually pause this and meet you when I get around to the front, which is way over here. So I will pause this and meet you when I get to the front. One moment. Alrighty, so I'm almost done this first round, and I can already feel the difference in what was happening down here. And now that I've got 2 rows in of the single crochet, I can feel that I've got much more of a rigid top to it, and that's kind of what I wanted. I was finding that this, while I really appreciate the structure that I had down here, I was finding it still being a little bit loosey-goosey up top, and I didn't care for that. So I'm kind of glad that I decided that this pattern is going to be there we go, have that single crochet top. Now we're going to run into smidgen of a little problem here because I've got technically 2 stitches here, but one of them is the finish. There we go. Now don't make the mistake of thinking that this here is another stitch. It is not. So just pop right over to here, catch your end in with it, okay? And oopsie, and then go ahead and slip stitch to the top of that. Get out of there. There we go. Now, again, we're going to chain 1, but we're going to turn our work. Okay, so technically we've got the inside of the bag facing us now, but because the bag, excuse me, because the bag comes up so far, it's just the inside of the bag, right? And the reason I like doing market bags out of this stuff instead of cotton, although a lot of people do it in cotton, I find that the cotton thread is incredibly expensive comparatively speaking. Excuse me as I have a little drink. I've definitely not caffeinated myself enough this morning, although it isn't terribly early right now. I was up at stupid o'clock again. Goodness. But the reason I like doing it out of this fiber instead of cotton, so this is just an acrylic fiber. That's all it is, just acrylic. It's a lot less expensive. Like the budget wise, this is a much better bargain. If I was doing cotton, the balls are even if I get the big balls, they're about at least twice, if not 3 times, as expensive as doing it in the Bernat Super Value or the Red Heart, whatever the version is that you're using, the Red Heart or the Bernat Super Value balls. The cotton balls are at least twice as expensive. Not only that, they fade terribly. So if you're washing them on a regular basis, because we like to have clean things, if you're washing them on a regular basis, you'll find that the Handicrafter cotton, as I take another drink of coffee, the Handicrafter cotton fades terribly. It's not designed to stay nice. It's not a mercerized cotton. And the difference between mercerized and just your Handicrafter cotton is exactly that. Mercerized cotton is a lot stiffer. It's like that cotton thread, but the color is designed to stay nicer. Your handicrafted cotton, the color will not stay. You wash that sucker 3, 4, 5 times and it's faded remarkably much. Think of it as a dishcloth or what have you. You're in water all the time. That water, the color is not going to stay in your handicrafted cotton. Oh, no, I'm shaking today. Yeah, goodness. I haven't worked that much today yet. My hands aren't terribly sore today, and they're even actually clean. Goodness, look at me go. But okay, so here we are. We have turned our work. We have our little end here that we're going to stitch in. So again, just so that we can see what's going on here, there is our first stitch. Okay, so we're gonna tie that end. Oh my goodness, Sherry, you have made this difficult for yourself, haven't you? There we go. Oh, no, missed. There we go. I got it. There we go. And now I'm just going to make sure that I've got my first single crochet that catches my end, because I don't know about you guys, but I hate working in ends. There's enough ends on this thing already. I had to start, I think once, yeah, right there. I had to start another, one of those small balls that lovely lady had going. Plus, of course, we've got the beginning end that we still have to tie in. And I just hate doing them. Okay, so now we've turned our work. We're going to go back, okay? And what this is going to do, again, all these single crochets are much tighter. If you remember our swatch, which I really should keep out here. I'll put it away. Our swatch, you've noticed that in that swatch that we did, the single crochet gave you a lot of structure, a lot of strength, and that's what it's designed to do. It's a very, very thin, a very dense stitch, and each one up above that, of course, gives you less density, right? So when I'm doing edges on bags of any sort, the first thing I will do is I will immediately go to a single crochet to give it a little more strength, a little more density, and that way I know that oh goodness, there we go. I know that my project will have the strength it needs to withstand going to market. If you're using it as an actual purse or what have you, you're going to have that strength that you need. So there we are. And now all I'm going to do again is do another row of single crochets. But I know that I want more than just 1 or 2 rows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 4 full rows before I start doing the handles, and we'll get back to that. So come back when you do this row plus 2 more, okay, of this, and then we can take a peek at where we're at. We can measure where we're at. You can decide whether you want to do more, whether you want to do less, but we are going to be doing a full 2 rows to do the handles and the border on the handles, again, to give them some strength. Okay, so meet me back when you have done this row plus 2 more. That will give us 4 rows in total of the edge. Okay, and I will meet you back here, and we will do the handles and then the border, and then we are done. So I'll be right back. And before I forget, yes, I'm sneaking back in here before I've actually done the second row. Don't forget to turn your work after each round of single crochet. Okay, so this again is just my second row. When I'm done my second row, I'm going to chain 1, I'm going to flip it back, and I'm going to continue with my third row, flip it back to my fourth row, and then when we finish all of that, we'll flip it back so that we're right side facing again. All right, be right back. All right, here we go. So let me just move my phone a little bit so I can see you guys a little better. There we go. Now I am just done. I've got 1 more stitch to go on my 4th round, and I think I'm going to leave it here. So there is my slip stitch to finish. And I'm going to leave it here. I kind of like how that looks. So if I take it and there we go. I think that's good enough. Now, as you can see, I'll just move my coffee there. As you can see, it kind of pulled it in just a little bit, and that's what I wanted, because we have this kind of nice bag look going on. Okay, and once I get the handles on, or once we get the handles on, sorry, once we get the handles on and everything else, I think this will look like a perfect little market bag. It's a bag that you can take to the shopping store. You can take it to farmer's market. You can fill it with all of the things you like. What I like about using these kind of bags is if I pick up produce. Okay. And we have an amazing lady at our farmer's market who has, I believe it's a hydroponics, but don't quote me on that. Okay. More coffee. She's got her own hydroponics set up. And so she brings the most amazing, amazing, amazing living lettuce, bok choy, spinach, kale. Oh my goodness, the choices are so delicious. And like 5 different kinds of lettuce, from radicchio all the way to the Caesar salad one, romaine. And but again, she puts them in paper bags, which is fine, but the paper bags leak. So this one is really nice because it allows the breathability, and you can just wash them. A lot of the bags you get from the grocery store, which are reusable, you stuff everything in there, and if you stuff something in there that happens to leak and you try to wash it, sometimes it doesn't wash very well. But with this, I find that even with the leaky stuff and the stuff that will get it all dirty, I can just throw this in the wash and it washes like an old rag. I would suggest, though, that you don't use fabric softener on it because it will soften up over time. And yes, that is fine. You can soften up over time, but I want this to keep its firmness. So even though I will put it in the wash, quite often I'll just leave it to hang to dry, just because that way I don't put fabric softener or dryer sheets or anything like that. I actually have a couple of wool balls that I use for anti-static and stuff, so that I don't have nasty dryer sheets stickiness. But I don't want this to be soft. I do not want this to soften up over time. I want it to keep its rigidity. I want it to keep I want to keep its stiffness. Okay. Now I have done this, so I'm going to flip it around so that again I'm working on the other side. But now, I forgot to chain one first. Shame on me. Let's chain one first. Chain one and spin it around. There we go. All right, that's better. Now, I have chained one. So what now we're going to do is we're going to put, depending on how many rows you've got, I've got 4. Great, I'm done. I'm done mine anyway. Now, if you want more rows, please feel free. If you want to have, a taller bag, again, this one, you are going to need more than one bag to do your market shopping or your grocery shopping. But again, it's not going to become so heavy that it's going to pull it all out of line, right? You can, absolutely. It's going to be very strong for you. But again, you got to remember it is made, it's homemade. It's not going to have that awful plasticky feel that the grocery store ones have. Okay. But again, these are so quick to make. Yesterday, it only took me, after I finished my nails, probably, I don't know, an hour or so to finish up the side, maybe an hour and a half to finish up the side. So realistically, excuse me, I could make, depending on my day, of course, because with chickens and gardens and husbands and grandkids and daughters and son-in-laws and all of that I live with, not in the same house, thank goodness. But with all of this day-to-day stuff, I can't stitch literally from morning to night, although I would love to. I also recognize that my mobility issues would increase instrumentally if I just sat in my chair all day stitching. But if I was to stitch from however long I started until however long I finished, I could probably get, maybe 4 of these made in a day without any problems at all. But with life is the way that life is, I would probably only get 1 or 2 made in a day. But it's great for a market table. It is fantastic for a market table. These ones, with being as small as they are, and again, it depends on the cost of your yarn. Please don't take my numbers as gospel value. Okay, I cheat a lot by buying my yarn at yard sales. I look online, the Facebook garage sale, and I find all sorts of deals. My sweet, sweet, sweet daughter-in-law, bless her. Oh my goodness, she is always finding me Thank you, Lisa. She's always finding me amazing, amazing deals. Um, and although she is down in the States, they are coming to visit. And I have a sneaking suspicion that I will have my yarn hoard filled up to full when she gets here because she is the way she is. Bless her. I do adore her. And again, she finds just as many good deals as I do. So I love her so much. Okay. So now for the straps. Before you say what I'm about to do, oh, that's way too narrow, that's way too narrow, remember that we are going to have to finish it off with another round of single crochets on each side of the strap that we're doing. So basically what we're going to do, we chained one and we flipped it round so that the right side is facing us again. And we're going to go right into that first stitch. Hang on, there we go. Right into that very, very, very first stitch. So, oh goodness, that is just not in focus for me. So right there, okay, first stitch. And we're going to do a single crochet. That's one, maybe. Oh, there we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is it. 4. And before you get crazy and say, no, that's not wide enough, I want a much wider, it will be wider, I promise. Okay, so chain 1, I'm going to flip. And you'll notice actually that I am not making that I haven't actually made these off of the bag. I'm actually making it on the bag. It again adds that bit of firmness to it. It adds that strength to it. And again, I'm just going to do 4 stitches. I might as well stitch while I'm talking. It adds that firmness. It makes sure that your stitching isn't going to come out because you're just sewing one side on. You are going to be sewing the other end on, so don't get too crazy on that part. But the only reason I do it that way is because I don't like what it looks like when you try to stitch it on. I don't care for it. So now I'm going to do my 3rd row, and I'm just going to continue doing row after row after row until it is the length I want it to be. Now, there are many, many schools of thought on this. I've seen some people do 17-inch handles. I don't quite like them that long, but to give you a reason as to why I'm going to make it as long as I am going to make it is because, and again, all I'm doing is chaining 1 and turning. The reason I'm going to make it as long as I am is because I do want to be able to stuff this thing quite full. And if I only make really, really short ones that go directly across, you're not going to be able to shove it full, right? And we want to be able to shove it full. Okay, so I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to flip it. And you'll notice that I'm also flipping it back and forth just because it does get... normally, I only ever flip one way because then you get a nice even edge. But I have to flip back and forth, otherwise it twists everything. So yes, I would normally flip it always the same way, but I have a bag that is attached to me, so I don't want that to get all twisted, and I don't want to have to start yanking on it. So all I'm doing here is I'm going to probably end up doing, I don't remember, I think it was about 14 inches that I appreciate for length on this. Okay, so again, all I'm doing is chaining 1 and then stitching 4. And you'll notice that I'm actually doing a full crochet on each row. I could do the back loop only, but again, I want this being the handle. I want this not to be wimpy. I want the handle to be as, oh goodness, that was hard. I want the handle to be as firm as possible. It's going to have some stretch. You can see it's going to have some stretch because we're going to be putting a round of single crochets around it. It won't have as much stretch as all of that, but it will have some stretch. Okay. And again, for a very good reason. You don't want your handles to be so rigid in these things that you can't move them and you can't do stuff with them, right? So you do want your handle to have a little bit of stretch so that it doesn't just, pop off, but you don't want it to have it so much stretch that all of a sudden your bag is dragging on the ground. Okay? So I think, like I said, if I remember my last one that I made, I really, really liked the length of, and I'm making these ones quite firm. You can go down a hook size if you want. I wouldn't recommend it only because it's going to be a pain in the butt and you will hate me forever for saying it. I would still use the same size hook as I used on my bag, okay? And again, it gives it the continuity look, right? Okay. Gee, I'm kind of liking the way that color is pooling there a little bit. That doesn't very often happen. But you've got your lovely bag here. And the other thing that I am going to do, because again, I've played around with these an awful lot lately, and I kind of like how they put together. I am going to finish mine. So don't put away your initial color. I'm actually going to finish mine in my initial color. Again, just kind of bringing it all together. Okay, so go ahead and, like I said, do, what am I doing here? There we go. Do your handles to be about 14 inches, your handle to be about 14 inches, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what to do next. All right, so happy hooking, and I'll see you back in 12 inches. Alrighty, so how did we do? Did we get our full 12 inches in? Oops. As I drop everything. So I'll just bring this down so you can see the end of it. I'm going to just measure to see where I'm at so that I can ensure, oh goodness, I hate the way they twist. I hate the way they twist. So I have pretty much about 12 and a half inches. At one point I was just going along and I'm like, oh goodness, I guess I better measure this. And I'd already done like 10 inches. So I was kind of proud of myself. When I get into moods like this, I just love to stitch, and I love to do the stuff that's easy peasy, because literally I just go. So these are perfect for a day like today when it's still very, very, very cloudy, very, very, very mucky. And yeah, I'm not happy with it. So, okay, how to measure where you want. Now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to tie this off. So before I get ahead of myself, one step at a time, Sherry. So I'm going to do a quick chain, and I'm going to cut off quite a nice long piece, not too super long, but long enough that I can do some stitching and still have ends to work in. Okay, now I'm going to pull that through. Bloop, 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 bloop. So again, you don't have to do it super long. It's not, like sweater length long, but it is enough. Because what we're going to be doing is, once we're done the other one, goodness, you are twisty today. We're going to sew this right here, okay? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to measure now, because this is where I think I would like it to be. It's just a little bit in from the edge without, being right at the edge. And it's perfect enough that I can measure now, and I can go to the other side and say, yeah, I'm happy with where this is. I like the look of it. Again, this is very much a personal choice. Oh goodness, itchy nose. This is very much a personal choice. If you like two in the middle, put two in the middle. If you like them closer to the edge, please feel free to put them closer to the edge. To do that, bloop, just pull it over, and then you can have it right next to the edge. I don't like mine too close to the edge, but I also don't like it too close to the middle. So I kind of do like middle of the road. So there we go. So there is my 12 inches. Again, if this handle isn't long enough, remember your handle is only going to be about 6 inches long when you double it over. Okay. So if you do want one that's a lot longer than this, please feel free, just keep stitching and you'll be fine. Okay. So when you're ready, when you've got your handle, yes, your handle completely done the length you want it. Again, I don't like mine too awfully long, but there are other people who do, and that's totally fine. Okay. This, again, making up these patterns has given me so much joy. I won't lie. I'm loving making these patterns, but it allows me to say to people, if you want a 6-inch border, if you want a bag that's 15 inches high, if you want, and another thing these are great for, these are fantastic for, they're for project bags. So the other thing that you can do, okay, especially if you have these kind of hooks, is, one moment as I try to get this thing out. There we go. Is if it's a project bag, okay, so you got your double crochets, right? Just slip this through here, you know, do a couple of stitches in between, and you've got a hook holder. Boop, done. I would do it on the inside, mind you, so if it falls on the inside. But there's a hook holder. If you've got hooks like this, you can do the same thing. It's just a little more fiddly. This was just a super easy one. And I don't have my wooden one down here again. Goodness, I got to remember to bring more stuff down here. But yeah, so you've got your hook holder. You've got lots of room for balls. You've got lots of room to put, lay your balls on the bottom, your project on top, slip your hook through, and you're laughing. So again, these are fantastic project bags. Fantastic. Unless you're doing a great big huge blanket like I'm about to start for a special project here. These are the fantastic size for that. And then you can just grab it, advertise your work, and go. And again, if you're like me, and I caution people, don't do this. But I don't even want to tell you how many things I've got on the go. It's just no. But right now I have 1, 2, 3, counting this one, 4, 5, I think 6 actual projects on the go. Because did I mention I get bored sometimes? So if a project doesn't have lots of dipsy doodles, or it's a really long project, I quite often will put it down and leave it for a while because I get bored. I know that says a lot about me, and it's fine, but that's okay too, because I do come back to them always. I've never left a project more than, well, that's not true, actually. I think the longest I've left a project is for 6 months, and then I go back to it. And there's always emotional reasons, emotional baggage or whatnot. But back to this project. So I know that I want my next, let's just make sure I'm measuring rightly. There we go. With it folded the way it is. I'm not going to move it. I'm not going to touch it. All I'm going to do is measure 3 and a bit, right? So there's the half, there's the quarter. So it's about a 3 1/8 inch. So I'm going to find my closest stitch to 3 1/8 in on this side. Then I'm going to mark it. And you always want to start on the same side as you did with your first handle, because then you've got that uniform look, right? So I'm going to find my 3 and a bit. I'm going to find, there it is. I'm going to find my handy dandy stitch marker. Again, please feel free. If you don't have actual stitch markers and you haven't had a chance to, or had the budget to go out and get some, don't think you have to go out and buy everything I've got, okay? I've been doing this for quite a while. Every time I sell something at market, I put a great deal of money that I make at market back into my business, because I am addicted to yarn. Let's be honest here, guys. Everyone, I love yarn. I love all the toys, all the bells, all the whistles. That's why I have how many of these sets going on. And I just found another really, really, really pretty one that I want. All right, enough of what you want, Sherry. So now I'm going to come over here. I said it was 3 and a bit. So I'm going to find my nearest stitch to 3 and a bit. And I'm going to get my stitch marker through there. There we go. Now, oh dear, I broke my stitch marker. Look at that. And that's why I'm not a big fan of these bigger ones. I do appreciate the littler ones, littler ones, the smaller ones better. So let's just actually cheat. There's some. Okay, so I'm going to actually cheat, take that out, and use my handy dandy old-fashioned, come on, get out of there. There we go. I'm going to use my handy dandy old-fashioned bloop stitch marker, because let's be honest, the old ways sometimes really are the best. I know this isn't going to break. I also know I don't have to tie it, but I am going to double check that that is where I want it. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to double check. I'm about 3 1/4 inches, and I'm going to double check, and I'm at 3. Nope, I want to come back in one more. So I'm actually going to take that out, and I'm going to come in one more. At this stage of the game, because this is just the handles and oh, goodness, Sherry, what are you doing? There we go. It is just the handles. We do want them to be as even as possible, but we don't have to be super fiddly about it. But that was out quite a little bit. So let's just measure that one more time. I'm at 3 and an eighth. And I'm at 3 and an eighth. Perfect. That's where I want it to be. So it was only one stitch difference. If somebody who didn't stitch and who wasn't a hooker came along and looked at my bag, they would not see that difference. I would. And that bothers me. I may not be terribly persnickety about things, but I am persnickety enough that one stitch makes a difference to me. To me. Only to me. So now I'm going to very carefully flip my bag so that I know what I'm doing. And I'm going to start stitching right there. So like I said before, oops, getting all tangled here. There we go. Like I said before, bring your thread through, because again, I got fluff all over from that yarn. Again, I want it to be fairly snug and secure. Okay. So I am going to then pull up a loop. Okay. So there we go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And I wasn't sure if you saw that. So let's do that again. I've tied it onto the loop that I wanted it on. And I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop. That's all I'm going to do. Chain one. And now we're going to make the same length on this one again. So I know that it was just over 12 and a little bit. I know it's only 4 stitches wide. It doesn't take very long, literally. And again, we're doing exactly the same thing we were doing before. To get 12 inches in, it doesn't take very long. Okay, so I know that all I'm going to be doing is going back and forth, much like a dot matrix printer or a typewriter. I once said to somebody, because they were taking a look at one of my the graph gans that I made, and I shall have to try to remember to post a picture in amongst the beginning of this, or maybe down the road I'll do another little video of all of my graph gans that I've made. And they said, how? And I'm like, well, sometimes when I'm stitching along on those big graph gans, doesn't matter how big or how small they are, I really literally feel like a dot matrix printer. And for those of you who are young enough not to remember the dot matrix printers, basically think of a 3D printer nowadays. It literally printed layer by layer by layer, row by row by row. The dot matrix printer was on paper and it was just rows. It wasn't like the 3D printers of today, but it works in the same principle. And for those of you who do remember the dot matrix printer, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about as you make this. And you're going to start, once you think about it, you cannot ever forget it. It is what it is. And literally all I'm doing is stitching row by row by row. It's just, it takes me a lot longer than even the oldest of dot matrix printers or the oldest of 3D printers, because crochet takes a long time. And again, this is something that a knitter could do on a machine, but honestly, I like the look better because I can, if I really, really, really wanted to get energetic, and that actually might be something I might do down the road for you guys, is make a few of these in that graph gan style. Now, it is going to have to be something that we stitch up, maybe not. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll see if I can create the pattern for it, and then we'll go from there. So if you guys do want to see one that has maybe a nice daisy on the front or a sunflower, I've got some yellows. Yes, I've got lots of yellows. So if you guys want to have one that has, one like this on the front, please feel free. Let me know. Let me know down in the comments, and we'll do that. And if not, well, then we'll just go on to another fabric. Good night. Another pattern. So for right now, I will leave you to do your hooking. And when you get to 12 inches, again, remember it wasn't exactly 12. Always go more than less because you can take one out faster than you can put one in. That sounds oddly wrong. And before I get myself into trouble with any more of that thinking, I am going to leave you for a few moments while I finish this handle. So I shall see you again in about 5 minutes or so. Alrighty then, so now I am pretty much done my second handle. And the easiest way to measure to make sure that both of these are even is to put them together on your bag, right? Make sure that it's even, and then just bring it on up. Bring it on up, bring it on up, and there we go. Now it looks to me like I might have one extra row, so I am going to measure that just in case, okay? Just to make sure that I'm not messing anything up here. There we go. So there we go. I've got it together. Everything looks good to me. Now I'm just going to follow that up. Whoopsie. Follow that. Well, I'm holding on to this really tightly. Follow it up and don't stretch. Don't stretch, don't stretch, don't stretch. Whatever you do, don't stretch. But now that I've done it a second time, it looks to me like I'm pretty much even. It might look like there's an extra row. I don't actually think there is. Again, because I've done this a couple of times. And the first time I thought I had an extra row and I didn't. So again, double check. Because the first time it looked like I had an extra row, the second time it didn't, and now the third time it did. So I'm going to do it one more time, just to make sure I like the way it turned out. So I'm holding on tightly here, gently following, gently following, gently following all the way up. And I'm going to take a look. And yeah, it does look like I have an extra row. I'm fine with that. You know what, because of tension and so on and so forth, it may not be an actual extra row. I did not count my rows. That is something that I don't always do, but sometimes I do. There we go. Okay, so let's just get everything back. Let's turn it this way. There we go. Let's get everything back the way it was. Oh, I forgot to end off this one. Oops, look at me go, getting ahead of myself. All right, so I'm going to end this. And so I'm just going to do the chain to make sure it stays put. I'm going to give myself a bit of an extra end. There we go. And I'm going to pull that all the way through. So you can see it's not a super long end, but it's long enough that I can do some stitching with it. Okay. Now I don't need that color anymore. So now I'm going to go back and we're going to sew in. We are on the homeward stretch, everybody. On the homeward stretch. I promise. I promise. Now I want to make sure again. Oh my goodness, you are turny, turny, turny. I'm not liking it very much. There we go. That's better. Again, I want to make sure that these are even. So I should, again, I think it was 3 and change. So I'm going to grab my little handy dandy measuring tape. And I'm at 3 and change. And I'm at 3 and change. And I have to have a little secret to tell you guys. I did kind of pinch these a little bit so that I could tell where it was. So I cheated just a little bit, but that's okay. You guys don't mind. All right, so now we need our darning needles. And I guess people call these embroidery needles too, but I call them darning needles because that's what I've always learned what they were. And I want a fairly short one that's not going to cause me too much grief. So I'm just going to pull up my little shorty there with my big eye. And I'm so sad because I dropped this and I've got a little crack in it. I'm so sad. I love this little container. So I am going to have to look for getting a new container for all of my metal hooks, but that's okay. So now, again, we want to make sure that where we attach this to, okay, is even to the other end. So I know that I'm there. So I need to make sure that where I'm going to stitch is exactly opposite from the other one. Okay, so you can see that there. There we go. There's the other one there. Here's my new side. And now I'm going to make sure I'm not twisted. Make sure your handle is not twisted. And I'm just going to do that. Make sure your handle is not twisted. Okay, so because the worst thing you can do is twist that handle. Just going to move this up just a touch. Oop, too far, too far. There we go. Okay. There we go. So now I'm going to take my hook. No, my needle. And realistically, I should have actually done one more row. Oh, no, I just had it twisted. There we go. I did do it right. Because I am right-handed, I like going from right to left when I'm stitching, and when I'm sewing it in. So now all I'm going to do is, just to make sure that I've got a nice start, I'm actually going to go through this handle's first stitch. What that is also going to do is that's also going to bring that yarn, that knot that we created, back into itself. Okay. Again, always make sure you're not twisted. I'm not twisted. Even though it's going to twist now, it's fine. But now I'm going to try to find the exact opposite stitch that looks close enough to me. Make sure I'm getting through both those arms of the V. Okay. And then I'm just going to go, there we go. I'm going to go back and then out, just like so. Yeah, I know it's not pretty, and it is what it is, but we're going to go back and forth a few times on this, just to make sure that it's solid, okay? So there we go. And make sure you get every stitch. All right, so now I've got this done. And because this is a variegated yarn, you can really see those stitches. If this wasn't variegated, you wouldn't see them. But again, you can see how there's a potential for this to come apart unless, and I'm going to catch that the last of this row, very, very last, where that chain is, I'm actually going to catch that chain too. And I'm going to bring it back. Now, because I want this to stay put. So I am going to go back one more time. Okay. Oops. Let's not notch that. One more time. And again, if it was the same color yarn, you wouldn't see it as much. But with this one, again, I would rather it be safe than sorry. So I am going to do this twice. Even though, you know, it doesn't look terribly nice, I want it to stay put. So I'd rather sacrifice beauty for tight. That didn't sound right either, but you know what I mean. So again, I'm going all the way back to this chain stitch, which is one, actually, it looks like and it feels like it's one past. There we go. Now I know that I'm happy with that. I know that if I give that a good tug, these will stretch before this comes out. And then just again, to make sure, I'm just going to go and take my yarn and I'm going to go right through there. It's really hard because I pulled so tight. Come on, all the way to the end. Perfect. There we go. Now I know that that's going to create a knotted area there. Again, I don't want to pull it too tight because I don't want this to squish, but I still want it to be tight enough. So now I'm going to go under that edge so I don't go back through the work I finished. Under that edge, there we go, done. And I'm just going to put it through one last time. Okay, and I know it's fiddly. I know it's hard, ladies and gentlemen, but everyone, we've got this. There we go. The second time through will always be the hardest. The third time is impossible. I've done it once or twice. It's almost impossible. So I'm going to leave it at that. And then there's two ways you can do this because we are going to be going, actually, we'll just leave that. We are going to be going around this with a single crochet. Okay. So we can work this end in there. And again, that just gives it that much more firmness. So we're going to leave that. I'm not going to snip it off. And we're going to hide our end that way. So now we're going to come to the other one. There we go. Bloop. And I am going to move that out of my way. And I'm going to do the same thing. And again, I want to make sure it's as even as possible. So there's my initial. And making sure that it's straight. Even though it twists as soon as I let it go, I'm fine with that. And I'm going to grab my yarn, my needle and my yarn. And there we go. Okay. So now, again, I want to find as close as possible. I think I can live with that stitch. Yep, that stitch works for me. So again, I want to come in here again. It's going to hide that little knot that we created, and that's fine. And then measure it again. Measure it 5 or 6 times. It doesn't matter. the more persnickety you are, you will actually count stitches. This again is just a market bag. It's not like it's a sweater. It's not like it's a grafgan. It's just a market bag. So yes, I care, but I don't care that much. So again, I'm going to come through there. I'm going to lift up so I don't do 2 rows together. And I'm just going to do that. And again, because we've got variegated yarn, you're never going to be able to hide these stitches. There are better ways to do this, but for hiding things, but I find that this is the best way for me. There we go. For me to get the strength that I want. Okay. So again, I'm coming back to that chain and I'm coming straight down. Okay. And I'm going to go back across now. Back across. Oops, and I pulled my needle right out. That's okay. I can fix that. Oops. There we go. Rethread my needle. There we go. Done. And I'm going to come back across, making sure I'm not knotting my yarn. And just about done, guys. Everyone. Sorry, just about done, just about done. And again, I'm going to take it, oops, there we go. Give it a bit of a tug, but not too much, not too much. And I'm going to come back so that I catch that chain area there. And I am good to go. So now I've got a nice tight, firm hold on that handle. Because again, we always know that seams are where things break, right? Oh my goodness, that's tight. Oh, come on. Where are you? There you are. Okay. And I'm going to come back over one more so that I can catch it all. There we go. And I'm going to go through one more time. Okay. There we go. And again, I'm going to leave it long because we're going to catch it as we do our single crochet. All right, so the last little bits are ready to go. All righty. So now I have my no starting there because that's where we took it off of the row, but I still have 3 of these nasty ends to work in. I don't like working in ends. So, I'm going to grab my handy dandy yarn down here. Oh, there we go. All right. Sorry, I had to get my yarn off the floor. I made the mistake of giving my cat catnip this morning, so he was feeling very, very happy. So now we have 3 areas that we have to do. So we are going to have some ends to finish, but not many because we're going to work them in as we go. So we have this area, this area that goes all the way around the handles, and then this area. So we only have 3 areas to finish. So we're going to move our bag around a little bit here. And again, because we have to work from right to left, we are going to start on this particular one so that I can work my ends in easily. And again, all I'm going to do is I'm kind of going to start here so that I can work over this corner because I want the corner to look nice, right? So I'm going to start 1 in from the corner. Can you see that? So there's the corner stitch. There's 1 in after the corner stitch. Okay, and I'm going to bring this through, and again, I want this to hold. So this is probably one of the only times you'll actually ever see me do this because I don't like it, but it holds really super well. So I've tied it. Now I'm going to grab a loop, and now I can begin. So chain 1 and single crochet all the way around with your original color. Okay. Oh, I forgot to work my end in. Silly, silly, silly. What did I say about ends? I hate working in ends. So I hate doing the ends at the last. So I work them in as much as I possibly can. So I know that it's nice and tight. I know that it's nice and tight because I've tied it. I've chained 1. I've done my first single crochet. Now I'm going to work that end in as I go because I know it's not going to come out. It would take a great deal of fiddle-faddling around for it to come out. So keep going. And I am going to go all the way around this portion. And it's nice and short because, again, it's only 7 inches and 6.5 inches in total. Excuse me. And I'm just going to I'm stopping here and I'm just going to hold my end. I'm going to give it a little tug. I'm not going to squish it in like this because I want it to look like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it a little tug just to make sure that I haven't got any loopsie-doopsies. Okay? And I'm just going to keep holding that end down and working it in. When I think I've gotten it far enough in, I can cut it. And I'm going to do that right about now. Hang on one second. But I think I'm going to cut it when I get to a similar color. Okay? So now you can see we've kind of worked that back in to the initial color of the bag. But now I think I've gotten quite a bit in. There's quite a few stitches holding it down, plus the original knot. So I'm just going to trim that right there. Okay? And I'm just going to continue single crocheting. Sorry about that. Single crocheting all the way around to the other side. And we'll do that corner together so that you can see what I'm doing. And then we'll work, whoops, and then we'll, get out of there. Go away. And then we'll work that other end in when we get, I don't think we've got actually another end on this one. Okay, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, so now we are at, remember at the beginning we had that stitch right after the corner? Oh yeah, there's an end there. Yeah. So we'll work that in as we go. So now I'm going to do this, right? There's my final stitch before the corner. I think that was off camera. Let's do that again. My chair is out too far. Okay, so I'm going to do that final stitch before the corner. Okay, you can see that. Now I'm going to jump to my handle. I'm not going to worry too much about this because I want it to be nice and tight. Excuse me as I pull my chair in. Oh, there we go. That's better. This kitchen chair is definitely not conducive for happy butts. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that first row. Okay, the first row. And it's going to be really super fiddly because you played with it so much already. So there's my first row. And I'm going to single crochet. Okay. Now eventually you will have a really, really nice corner there. And we're going to find the second row. Hang on. Let's show you that again. Okay. And I'm going to single crochet in each row. But I'm going to keep my tension fairly tight. Not like tight, but tight enough. Okay, so there's my third row, grabbing my yarn. Oops, don't do that. There we go. Let's try that again. And there's the third row. Okay, oops. And so there's my third row. There's my fourth row. And that's all I'm doing. For every row, I'm putting a single crochet in. Okay, and what that's going to do is it's going to give loads of strength to your handle. You can do this with slip stitch if that's how you'd rather do it. Please feel free. I have done it. I don't think I like it, but please feel free to do a slip stitch if you want. You can also do as many rounds as you want, but remember, with each and every round, your handle gets shorter. Okay, it appears to get shorter. Okay, so now we're going to find that row right there, and I'm going to do a single crochet. The next row, and single crochet. The next row, single crochet. Can you guys see that now? Can everyone see that? And the next row. So quite literally, every time you find, in this case, pretty much a new color, okay, you're putting in a new row, or a new stitch, sorry. Right? And we're going to do that all the way around. And it's going to take just a few extra minutes, but this video is getting incredibly long. I shall probably have to pare it down a bit with all of my yakking that I do. But again, so our next row, so I shall leave you here with your single crochets, and I will meet up with you at the next corner. All right? Hang on one second. Okay, so I'm almost done. As you can see, I've only got a couple more rows to go. So I'm going to finish my rows. And Now I'm at my last row. Remember I said we got this corner thing here? We're not going to do anything with that corner. We're actually just going to slip stitch right there. Now again, you can do a second round if you're so inclined. I'm not so inclined. So I'm going to do my chain. I'm going to snip it. Made that end just a little bit long, but that's okay. And then when I do my ends in, what I will do is I will actually just fold that over so that it catches a bit better. So there is one side done already. See, I told you it wouldn't take long. So now we're going to do the center bit, and then we will do the other side. So now again, like I said, here's the center bit. This is going to be our longest bit. Okay. So when I'm making these, I actually do that one first, but you know, it needs must when we're learning, we have to do things a bit different. So now again, I find my corner stitch. There it is right there. Okay. Can you see that? And I'm going to go to the next one right there. Okay. And I'm going to grab that yarn, pull it through, and I'm going to give it just a half knot. Bloop. Again, I don't want it to be like super noticeable, but I want it to be secure. So now I'm going to stick my hook through that same thing. I'm going to yarn over, pull, really? Pull through. There we go. Done. And I managed to catch, oh, there we go. I just caught some extra stuff in there. Chain one, so we can get started. And then I'm going to do a single crochet in that same one. Now we're just going to single crochet all the way around. Okay? So again, just keep single crocheting all the way around until you get, now this isn't going to take long, so I guess you can put up with me. You can always fast forward this part. But it's only going to take a second. There's no sense pausing. So besides which, I've decided that I really enjoy doing this. I don't know whether it's because maybe I can get my thoughts out of my head, or I'm just enjoying the creative process of both hooking and videoing, or whatever you call it these days, but I'm sure it's still called videoing. And I know that just from some of the comments that I have seen, I love you, Ascendant Hennessy. You are just so sweet to me. And some of you who have given me some wonderful comments. Oh, I love you guys so much. Okay, so here is my corner stitch. Okay, can you see that? There we go. That's better. So I want to do this last one. So bloop, I'm going to do my single crochet in this last one. Now, because I know I kind of dipsy doodled here a little bit, I do think, nope, I'm not going to. I'm going to continue with the pattern, and I'm going to go right into that stitch right there. The first row, okay, see that? Not going to do this stitch. I can if you want, but I again think it brings it together a little bit nicer. Okay, so do that first row, and then now, just like before, you follow up one stitch per row. Okay, one stitch per row, and you follow it all the way around to that next corner, and I shall meet up with you then. See you soon. All right, I am back now down to that other corner. I've got one more row to go into right there, right? Oh, I made that very loose. Let's try that again. Okay, and bloop, done. Now, again, you're more than welcome to go into those corners if that's what you like. I don't. I want to ensure that everything is going to be all nice and neat. So I'm going to go into that next stitch. And you can kind of see there's a little bit of a gap here. You're not going to notice that. See? You're not going to notice that. There's the other side. Okay? You don't notice the gap at all. All right? So now you're just going to keep stitching, stitching, stitching. You've got one more armhole or arm. No, this is not a sweater. You've got one more handle. Goodness gracious. Oh my goodness, this has been a very, very long morning. Thank you for putting up with me, everyone. And anyway, so there we are. We're almost done the bottom of this portion here. We'll get to the next corner, and we've got an end that we can work in. Although I'm very vexed with myself right now. Very vexed with myself. I didn't work in this first end. So I am very vexed with myself. Goodness. But that's okay. That's okay. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. It's just one last thing I've got to sew in for ends. Alrighty, so here we are. We're at the corner. So again, I've got 1, 2 more stitches. Oop, try that again. 1, 2 more stitches and then the corner. Okay. So again, if you're so inclined, you're more than welcome to work this stitch here. Again, I'm not a big fan, so I'm going to go right into my rows, but I'm going to catch my end first. So I'm going to catch my row, catch that end, right? And then each, see there? Okay. And then each and every row around the sleeve until I get back, excuse me, until I get back to my join. So I shall catch up with you then. I'm just working that through. As you can see, I'm just giving it a little tug, not too much. And I shall see you in a few minutes. Okay, so now, as you can see, I've come all the way back to my initial stitch. So now I'm going to slip stitch, bloop, into there. I'm going to do a quick chain to lock it in. I'm going to drop my scissors on the floor. One moment. There we go. As you can see, I definitely have as you can hear, I guess, I have a very, very cold cement basement floor. Part of it does have a nice rug on it, which is great, but oh my goodness, there we go. Pull my chair back in. Perfect. All right, so back to it. There we go. So I've done my chain. Oh, and I've moved my phone. Let's try that again. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to give myself a little bit of a space to tie that all, or do in my ends. So now we only have one tiny little area to go, and it's exactly the same as the first one. So we are on the homeward stretch, everyone. I'm sure that you're very grateful for that, because this is a very, very long video. And please forgive me for how long it actually is. But as you can see, we're almost done. Yay! So let's get it done, and we will be good to go. So we'll switch it around again. Start on this side and my hook. So again, there we go. I'm not doing this stitch. I'm doing the one stitch after, just right there. Okay. So again, not the corner stitch, the one stitch after. And I'm going to bring my yarn through, loop, loop, there we go. And I am going to tie it. Again, because this isn't something wearable, I'm not worried about that little feel right there. Okay, so now I'm going to pull through, and I've got my loop to start. So chain 1, just to lock everything in nice and tight, and we're going to single crochet all the way around again. So I think you've gotten it now. I shall meet up with you at the very end when we finished this round. Sorry, not this round, but I shall meet up with you somewhere over here so that we can finish it off and have a look, see what it looks like. I will be back shortly. Alrighty, so here I am. I am one row away from finishing. There we go. So I'm going to catch that row, single crochet, and as you can see, yet again, I forgot to do my end in, but that's okay. And I'm going to skip this whole mess in the middle, and I'm going to just slip stitch right to there. And you can see it kind of brings everything in nicely. Okay, and you can fight with all of that stuff that goes on there, and that is fine. But guess what? We are officially done. Now, I did cheat, and I did make one just to see how long it actually took me. It's already gone. I apologize. It's already been given away. Somebody liked it and said, "Oh, can I have it?" And I went, "Oh yeah, sure, whatever." And this is the size of bag, and I'm going to take a picture of it all full so that you can see what it can hold and what it can't. Again, you know, if I give this a good tug, it's not coming apart. So I can put some pretty heavy stuff in here. So anyway, I hope you liked the market bag. Altogether, these take me, without any interference, I did actually run a stopwatch, but forgot to turn it off at one point. So it took me 3.5 hours total. to make. And that's again a guesstimate because I keep getting interrupted. But it's about 3.5 hours from beginning to end done. So, and because I used leftover yarns that I didn't pay a lot for, and stuff like that. Now, if you're paying full price for this, and again, I really, really, really do encourage you, go to yard sales, go on Facebook, yard garage thing sales, ask around. When people find out that you are indeed a hooker, you will be inundated by extra yarn. Trust me on this. Like I said, I've got a lovely fellow hooker. She does sewing as well. She's more into sewing than she is hooking. Excuse me, at market. And she is always giving me yarns. We trade yarns. I don't have any more fabric left to trade her, so I'll have to find something else. Maybe I'll make her some bread. And we'll go from there. So anyway, here is our finished product. I think it actually looks a little bit like some coveralls or some overalls, whatever, Oshkosh, whatever these are, with suspenders, but I really like it. So I'm going to finish up my ends. So finish up your ends. I'm going to take a couple of pictures. I will post that as my thumbprint, fingerprint, thumb, whatever the beginning picture is on the video. Again, I'm sorry, I'm still learning all this stuff, and I'm sorry this video is so very long. I will probably end up cutting bits and pieces out of it. I hope you guys don't mind. And again, let me know in the comments whether you want to learn how to do graphgans the easy way by starting with one of these. It's a nice easy way to start. I can do a quick because I do make the patterns myself. I might down the road charge for that one. We'll see. But to do it with me in the video, I will never, ever charge. Never, ever charge. But if you do want the written pattern, just because it does take me quite a bit of time to write out the pattern, sorry. I might charge for that. Let me know if you're interested, because feel free. Anytime I do a video, videos will always be free. Always. But if you do want a written pattern, because they take me so long, I may have to charge. Let me know if you are interested, and we'll go from there. Anyway, that is the market bag. I will take a picture of this so you can see exactly how a project fits into it, and maybe even some goodies. I'll have to see what I've got downstairs to what it can hold. Alrighty, and I shall see you on the next video. Please be kind to yourself. Remember, mistakes are normal. You cannot learn unless you make a mistake. My name is Sherry, and I am addicted to yarn.